Hello and welcome everybody. This is going to be an intro lesson on how to get started drawing the CO2 car drawing design on AutoCAD. So by now you would have completed the CO2 car research assignment. You moved on to the CO2 car getting started page while you referred to the CO2 car project outline. You got to understand the different types of CO2 cars. You've experimented with some designs, some thumbnail drawings on a piece of paper with a pencil, and you've selected a design, and now you're ready to start drawing it out, an actual drawing that could be used for construction. So we've done an AutoCAD unit, and this is our time now to take what we've learned and apply it to a design. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the hub, and I'm already in the CO2 car project outline module, and I'm going to download the CO2 car sketch template 2019. So we're going to download this. It will show up here, and click on it, open it up, hit open, and here we are. So this is the drawing template that we're going to use. So the first thing we should do, and this is something I've taught you to do, as soon as you open anything up new from the hub from AutoCAD, go and save it. So I'm going to throw this on my desktop, and I'm going to add my name to it and hit save. Okay, so here we go. So whether you're doing this on AutoCAD or whether you're doing this on paper with a pencil, everyone starts with the same looking file. Whether you're looking at this with a piece of paper or whether you're doing it on AutoCAD on your computer screen. Now the grid is not productive for the AutoCAD individuals. So I'm actually going to be eliminating the grid first, but those who do it with a pen and pencil and ruler, or a pencil and paper and ruler, I should say, they have to use the grid to help aid them while they draw. So in AutoCAD, the first thing we're going to do is remove it. So we're going to zoom in, and I'm going to click inside this grid space from the top right and click down into the bottom left. And I'm going to hit the erase tool to get rid of the grid. I'm going to do the same thing at the top. I'm going to go into this very narrow looking grid space, and I'm going to scroll to the bottom left and erase it. Okay, so let's see what we're working with here. So we've got a 2-view projection. This is going to be the side view. This is going to represent the top view. So let's take some measurements. If we go into utilities, use our measuring tool. This length is 12 inches and its height is 2 inches. Right click, left click, enter, exit. Let's try that again. Measure. So this is the width of the car, 1 5/8, and the length should be the same. It should be 12 inches, which it is. Okay, so this is what we're working with. This is our side view. This is our top view. When we go back into the hub, we click on Project Outline, something you've seen before. And we're going to take a look at the doorstop car. Okay, so this is an example of a CO2 car in its most basic form. It's a rail car, but it shows the wheels are exploded out for a simplified view of things, of the blank. So in a rail car, the wheels are totally on the outside of the body. And in this case, this rail car is shaped like a doorstop. It's a wedge. And here is the same thing, a wedge car with different wheel styles, which we'll talk about at another time. So it shows that the full length of the car is 12 inches and the height is 2 inches, and the width is 1 5/8. So these are the same numbers that I found when I was measuring the blanks in the AutoCAD file. When I take a look at this chart here, it says car length, maximum 12 inches, minimum 8 inches. So that means that when you're designing your car in AutoCAD, these are your max and minimum lengths. You can be 12 inches just like it came when you downloaded it, or we can shorten it up to 8 inches, or we can be any number in between. It's up to you because you're the designer. Car height at the rear only, where the cartridge is at the very back, we can be as high as 2 inches in height. This is the way the template came when we downloaded it, or we can shorten it up to about 1 3/4 or be anywhere in between. So these are the only two factors and limitations that you can change. All the other ones just have one value for everything listed, so these numbers are locked in. You need to adhere to these sizes. So it doesn't matter what kind of CO2 car you're drawing or designing, this lesson is for everyone. So everyone is going to start off doing everything that I'm showing you today in the software. So let's take a look at the CO2 cartridge. Its length is 2 inches, and it is from the center of the cartridge to the bottom of the car is shown at 1 1/4 inches. It also says this information in the chart. Cartridge hole depth 2 inches, and cartridge hole center position above body from bottom is 1 1/4 inches. And its cartridge diameter is shown at 3/4. And it also lists that up here in the top view. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is offset the bottom line here. This represents the bottom of the racer. So we're going to go offset, and we're going to type in 1 1/4. Now, we're used to drawing in millimeters. Our AutoCAD unit was in millimeters, which is a unit of metric measurement. This is imperial. This is fractional measurements. So this is how you input a mixed fraction into AutoCAD. So you type 1-1/4. Enter. And now we're ready to offset this line. And then click above where I want to go. Okay. Right click, left click, enter to escape. So this line here can be selected and turned into a center line, which is something that we're familiar with. The next step is to show the actual cartridge limits. So where it is at the top and where it is at the bottom. So it's 3/4 of an inch. That's what we found out from our project outline sheet. So we're going to have to offset the center line above and below. So we're going to pick offset. This time we're going to type 3/8. So we're going to offset 3/8 above and below. Now, why is that 3/8? Because whenever we want to know what half of a fraction is, the numerator would stay the same, but we would take the denominator, which is a 4, we'd multiply it by 2, or we double it. Right? Either way is going to give us an 8. So we're going to hit enter, and we're going to click below, and click this line, and click above. Right click, left click, enter to escape. Okay. So next, this line and this line should not be center lines. So we're going to select them. And we're going to go into the layer manager and change them to hidden. Right? Because when we look at the car from the side view, we're not normally going to see that drilled hole in the back. It's going to be blind to us. So that's why we're showing it as a hidden line on the side view. It's going to look that way from the top view as well. So the next size we're going to use to show where the cartridge hole ends in terms of its drill depth is 2 inches. So we'll hit offset, type 2, enter. Pick the back of the car and then click to the left. So this line here, again, is changed to a hidden line. And then we have to do some trimming. We have access lines we need to get rid of. So we're going to hit the trim command, and I'm going to trim here and here. And right click, left click, enter to escape. I'm going to right click, left click, repeat trim again. Select this line and this line as boundaries. I can hit enter or right click my mouse and then pick the rest of what I want to trim away. Alright, so there's my cartridge. Now my center line needs fixing. It shouldn't be going all the way to the end. So I'm going to use a grip to bring it in. So I'm going to select it, pick the grip, and drag it back. I'm also going to put ortho on. Save myself some trouble. Okay. And now the center line needs to extend a little bit from the front and the back. This is something that you were taught in the AutoCAD unit. Anything that represents anything circular or symmetry requires a center line. We were extending center lines 6 millimeters in our metric drawings. So the equivalent of that in an imperial or fractional drawing is 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to select this line. It's already selected. Pull the grip out, and we're going to type 1/4 to represent 1/4 inch. We're also going to do the same thing to the other side. 1/4, enter. Okay, so now we have our cartridge drawn in. Let's take a look at the project outline sheet. It's in proper position here, which looks great. I got my center line looking the way it needs to look. So instead of re-going and doing that whole exercise all over again for the top, I'm just going to get lazy here, and I'm going to copy the whole thing above. So this is going to represent the top view of the CO2 car. So it makes sense that the cartridge would be positioned dead center in the center length axes of the car. If you look here, there's a center line that travels all the way through the top. This represents symmetry. And you can see that the center line passes right through the center of the CO2 cartridge. So that lets me know that it is in the middle. It's not dimensioned anywhere else. It's a pretty good 100% assumption that it's in the middle. So we're going to go to copy, and we're going to actually, we're going to cancel that out. We're going to copy. Let's try that again. And we're going to select all these objects. So that's everything. I'm going to hit enter. And it says specify base point, where I'm going to want to copy this right from this intersection. And then go up to the top view, find the midpoint snap, and click. Right click, left click, enter to escape. And there is my cartridge in the proper position. And life is good, right? That's much easier than redrawing it all over again, right? If you're doing this drawing by hand on a paper, unfortunately you have to find the middle, which is easy to do on the grid, but again, AutoCAD has its certain advantages, as you can see. So let's check some things, right? Let's measure. So let's go to measure tool. So this should be 1 1/4. Yes, it is. And the length should be 2 inches. Yes, it is. And the diameter of it should be 3/4. And yes, it is. So everything is being done correctly. All right, so the next step is to show the axle, the rear axle. It shows that from the back of the car to the center of the drilled axle hole is 2 3/4 inches, and from the bottom of the car up to the center is 3/8. This information is also in the chart. So axle hole position above body bottom is 3/8. And it doesn't show this dimension in the chart, but that's okay because it doesn't need to. And it also says here this is 3/16. Now this needs to be updated. This is incorrect. Go off of the chart. So axle hole here is 1/4 inch. So this is going to be the diameter of the hole that we're going to draw. So let's do some more offsets. Let's hit the offset tool. We'll type in 2-3/4 for 2 3/4. We'll take this line and offset it forward. One more offset, repeat offset. This time we'll type in 3/8, enter, and click from the bottom above. Right click, left click, enter. Now we have an intersection to draw that axle hole. So we're going to go to circle and draw. Now it defaults to center radius, so be careful. Change this to center diameter because we want a drilled hole as the entire diameter. So it goes from one side of the circle to the other. Pick center diameter, find your intersection, type 1/4, enter. And there is our axle hole. Now, we need to change these lines here into center lines. Like that. Perfect. And for now, what I want you to do is I would just leave that like that for now. And I'd like you to come that far, and then we'll pick this up in another lesson tomorrow. So see if you can get up to this point, and we'll talk later. Have a nice day.